Greetings. I'm Halcyon and this is Hug Nation. Today, I speak for the trees. Not really. That's an incredibly bold statement. I do not have the drive, the commitment as the Lorax, nor do I have even a fraction of an understanding of what the trees are saying. But I did have an experience this week of communion with trees. Went to a camp out near Fresno, and our campground was so dang hot that we decided to make a day trip to a local lake, Hume Lake. I did not know until we got to Hume Lake that Hume Lake is in the Kings Canyon National Park, and within that park are giant redwoods, which I'd never seen. And it was glorious to see a tree that has been growing for over 1,500 years. It is so big around that hugging it is like hugging a wall. It's just so big. And just the power, the life, it feels silly to speak of it. It's like trying to describe the Grand Canyon. These are not things that you can describe with words. They're not feelings that translate to vocabulary. But they are frickin' feelings. One of the things that I really loved is, you notice as you see these big trees that so many of them are burnt on the inside. And thank you, Forest Department, because they have these plaques that explain that, yes, all of these trees have been hit by forest fires. And yet, they march on. They are so strong and powerful, the roots so deep, the bark so thick, that they withstand the firestorm. Tree time, baby. It's like, I sometimes get this feeling when I look out over the ocean, and I just get this kind of feeling of like, whoa, I'm gazing upon thousands and thousands, millions of years of history, of conflict, of life and death and cycles. And in the contrast to that timelessness, what I'm stressing about in the day feels so silly. And that's how I felt in the presence of these trees. Like, my concern about some camp drama that had already gone through a whole bunch of peaks and valleys over the course of, 24, 48 hours. It seems so ridiculous, like an ant crawling upon the surface of this mighty tree. Even the most horrific of life dramas is still a forest fire that the tree withstands. And yet, with this awe and this reverence and this humility, there's also this incredible sadness as you realize that human beings do not act with that reverence. We can go to special places that have park rangers protecting patches of this incredible examples of the natural world. But whenever we can, we collectively decide to destroy what we need to destroy to increase our standard of living, our productivity, our bottom lines. And I know that sounds like, a childish railing against society and the world, but it doesn't make any more sense when you get to be a grown-up, and it doesn't get to be any more tragic or any less tragic. So I'm so grateful for the experience of the trees and the experience of this resonance that I felt deep down. Last summer, I read the book The Overstory, which is an incredible story about forest activists, but really it's about trees. And I actually started listening to it again this morning after I got back from my trip to remember those poetic explanations of the natural world in that book, which I highly recommend. Can't recommend visiting a giant redwood enough. Can't recommend the overstory enough. Can't recommend the reminder to ourselves of the lack of centralness that we hold on this planet and the universe, and the danger of falling into that belief. I mentioned last week I've been rereading the book Sapiens, and it talks about how humans evolved faster than biology. We evolved through our cultural evolution, so we can evolve to go from a middle of the food chain to an alpha predator faster than we biologically get the tools to do so. We get through cultural changes of technology, of working together and cooperation and things like that. And we can learn rapidly and outpace physical biological evolution by, exponentially. And in doing so, we do not retain the checks and balances of evolution. We do not allow our predators or the aspects of our natural world that would normally keep us into balance. They are working on the timeline of the trees. They're working on the timeline of evolution. So as we skyrocket above, we do not gain the wisdom of the trees. We do not gain the wisdom of the natural world and the checks and balances of a balanced ecosystem and a balanced Gaia. And so we sit here with this teeny tiny window of understanding, these decades of years alive that we think give us a perspective into deciding what the future should be and what is important and what could be destroyed and what could be sacrificed. And it is in that disconnect that the sadness and maybe the hopelessness can creep in. But let me step away from the hopelessness for a moment and step back into the reverence and the appreciation and the recognition that there are things that we can do that can remind us of that connection. And we can be the people that remind others of that connection. Connection to the natural world, connection to fellow humans, breaking down whatever we can in the walls that make us these silos, solo silos. It is from that solo mindset that we can make decisions that destroy the very things that will be precious to our children and our children's children and our children's children's children. So thank you, trees. May you be able to withstand the firestorm of humanity. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to order my book or sign up for the Pink Path coming up next week. And watch one of these videos. I love you.